Elizabeth Severn is an adopted name of an American woman who had to run away from her husband, who wanted to kidnap the child, the daughter. And so she adopted the name Elizabeth Severn so that he would not be able to find her. She starts working as a metaphysician, which is one of my favorite professions. No laws can be applied to that profession, I believe. She opens practice on the Fifth Avenue in New York City, and she has patients. This is how she advertises herself, how to apply metaphysics. An unbelievable question, I believe, for anyone who knows what the word metaphysics means. But metaphysician and healer, that's what she does. She has various very severe symptoms, and being a metaphysician, she receives a message from the universe, no less, that tells her there's only one person who can help you. His name is Ferenczi. Ferenczi is in New York for 9 months, 1926-27, but he doesn't have time for her. So she comes to Budapest. She is in Budapest in analysis with Ferenczi for several years. In the beginning, things improve. And then she enters the period of what we nowadays call negative therapeutic reaction. She feels bad and even worse. She contemplates suicide. She has to cross the bridge across Danube, and Danube is a river in Budapest. And she thinks about whether she should jump or not, and so on. And Ferenczi does whatever he can. He is extremely motivated to help his patients. She gives her unlimited sessions, 3 hours, 5 hours, whatever she needs. She doesn't have to pay. For a time, another patient pays double so that she would not have to pay. And so on and so on. None of this helps. She starts persuading him that he cannot help her because he hates her. She tells him, you have the resistance against helping him, and that's why I feel so bad. And Ferenczi says what everyone else would say. That's impossible, I'm an intellectual, I'm a professional, I'm a helper, and so on and so on. After a long persuasion, probably a full year of persuasion, she breaks him. So they make an arrangement where the first session is for him in her apartment. He's on the couch, she's in the chair. He tells her about the dreams, probably about other patients, about his childhood, and she analyzes all of that. That session over, she goes to the couch, he goes to the chair. He's now listening to her. He writes in his diary, exhausted after the session he had before that, and now he analyzes her. This lasts for over a year, and Ferenczi comes to the realization, I did hate her. He believes that she reminded him very strongly of his mother, that she was as aggressive as his mother used to be, so that he was afraid of her, and he did not dare tell her that he hated her because she was afraid of her, so that all of these were in his unconscious, and he was not really helpful and loving and honest with her because of this fear. Now, as soon as he becomes aware of that and honest with her and telling her all of that, she starts feeling better. Now, she recollects 3 different episodes of sexual abuse. The first one, chronologically the first one, taking place when she was about 18 months old. Whether it's possible to remember things that happened that early in one's life, I'm not sure, but that is what she tells him, and he takes it as truth. This is the famous experiment in mutual analysis. Freud's expression, by the way, the photograph, I hope you can see it, is from Madrid or Cordova, summer 1932. Ferenczi, his wife, and Severn. She felt so bad, he was afraid if he goes for summer holidays, she would be very bad, she might be suicidal and so on, and took her with his wife to summer vacations. He did not think maybe she could be hospitalized, maybe she could be referred to a colleague, maybe she could be sent to Baden-Baden to Groningen. No, he took her to Spain to summer vacations. Very strange story. Probably the warning, don't do this at home, is very applicable here. Freud's expression for Severn was the evil genius. He thought she was an evil woman who has a very bad influence on Ferenczi. Ferenczi actually died the next spring. She left in the summer of 1932 and Ferenczi died in May 1933. So we don't know everything we should know about that. But the famous experiment in mutual analysis, Ferenczi described in the publication called Clinical Diary, that was finished in November 1932 and published for the first time in 1985. There, it's very interesting, very difficult to read, but very interesting publication if you want to follow clinical cases and clinical work. Every day, in between sessions or after sessions, he writes or dictates some of the notes. So it's basically about how he worked with patients. But 2 years ago, the book by Severn, The Discovery of the Self, originally published in 1933, was reprinted with a new introduction by Professor Peter Rudnitsky, and it seems that in one of the chapters you can find the case study of Ferenczi, how she analyzed him and what she at least believed she had discovered there. So now we have two historical documents that were not written with the awareness of one another, that we can now compare and see what happened in the office of an analyst.